Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. And welcome everybody to Canadian Jewish Television as we endeavor together to celebrate the best of Jewish art, history, faith, culture, and everything in between. Now today I'm going to speak with Sam Mizrahi, and I went down to the presentation center of The One to speak to the developer himself, talk about his interesting career and how he did virtually the impossible to send a structure into the sky, soaring into the clouds as Toronto's tallest building. It's going to be fascinating to learn about the project and to discuss his career moreover. And then Marcel Marceau in Jewish Legends. And then, to finish the program, The Art of Conversation. It's all coming up right here on Canadian Jewish Television. We'll be right back right after this. Thanks for being here. Thank you, folks.
From the One Presentation Center, here is Eden Wall and real estate tycoon Sam Mizrahi.
It's tremendous to meet you. You know, I admire you so much, and I've been wanting to sit down and talk to you for a while. And so here we are. The angels are smiling. Two nice Jewish boys sitting in the presentation center. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, as I'm walking here, it's a long way from selling, you know, blank cassettes and batteries to developing the tallest building in Canada. I look at this amazing presentation center. I see your real estate developments getting larger, more grand, more high stakes. Your career is ascending at a meteoric rate. And I'm wondering, do you ever wonder, like, what's really, and I mean really, driving this all? And I mean, this is going to take some extreme honesty on your part. I mean, not just success and recognition, but what's really driving this incredible hard work that you're putting into your career?
To be able to make the world a better place, to build communities that are better, to be able to have the tools to be able to help and create change that's...
What do we need to do to make the world a better place right now, and how can you do that?
Everybody has the ability to make the world a better place, and everybody has the ability to make the world not a better place. You know, I think it's in all of us a innate moral thing that, for me at least personally, is to figure out what is my art, what is my, you know, everybody has a gift.
For sure.
And what is
your gift?
I don't know.
I've seen you on so many interviews, but you've never really brought people behind the curtain. And you're on a Jewish show, you're talking to your cousin Eden Schmieden here, and I'm going to ask you to do something you've never done. Can you bring us inside this deal, how it went down? Because it's a huge deal, and I'm just wondering how you got your paws on one of the most coveted corners of real estate in Canada, probably North America. Can you share that with me?
The reality of it is that I built a rapport and a relationship with each one of the vendors over 9 months. The most important one being the Stollery family and Edward Whaley, who owns Stollery's. And he was a very responsible businessman and a very responsible soul who you know, was not interested in selling the building, was not interested in selling the store. The identity of the store was his. And, you know, but it came to a time that he was looking at passing the torch, and it was a question of who he was going to pass it to. And somebody that, you know, he valued, that was not going to compromise and that was going to protect his value system. Of what the Stollery family and what Whaley had for the last 100 years, 117 years at that time in 2014. And it was just a relationship and rapport, and we talked for 9 months about everything other than real estate. We talked about world, we talked about life, we talked about retail, we talked about the changing evolution of retail and the world and the city and people, and every time I came he said, yeah, I'm not selling you the store, like, we're not, you know, it's off limits. And I said, no problem, we just became friends and had coffees. And then one morning called me up when I came in, and he decided he was going to sell the store.
And so bring me into this moment. This is incredible. He brings you in after saying no,
no, no, no. I'm not going to sell you the building. How'd it go down?
He brought me in, we were upstairs at Stollery's on the second floor in his office, and his EA, his assistant and right-hand person was there, Deborah Scott, and basically said, you know, I've decided I'm going to sell you the building.
And what's going through your mind, Sam, the second he says that to you? Can you track the thought? I'm very fascinated by human thought process. Do you remember the first thought? I don't even know.
I was scared.
Yeah, fear. Fear.
I couldn't believe it. And then I realized the weight of the responsibility at that point.
And what is the weight of that project?
It was something that we envisioned, you know, and I envisioned that we wanted to do that I knew hadn't been done before. And a lot of people were saying that it wasn't possible to do. And so that's when it became very interesting to me.
Eden's conversation with Sam Mizrahi continues right after this. We're a strange species, the Jewish people. How we behave, how we walk in the world, how we talk in the world, how we think in the world. And I'm just wondering, your Jewish values, how have they informed your career? And how have they allowed you to conquer the odds and overcome the obstacles that you have in your career? Do you mind me asking that?
My faith and my Jewish values have been critical to overcoming challenges and
How so?
I'm a person of very strong faith.
Faith, it's a very mysterious word. How so?
I've always been since I was a child. I don't, you know, it's not something that, for me, there was never any doubt of God. I've never had any doubt.
It's just a question of how enormous he is.
Yeah, and for me, there was, even when I was a young child, about 6 years old, I always felt that connection, and always felt, and always had faith. And there was never a time that I didn't, no matter how dark and no matter how challenging and no matter what was happening in my life, there was never been a time that I didn't have it. But I think my Jewish upbringing, my Jewish values, and the soul of what I feel inside my heart, those values and that faith. I don't believe, you know, without it, I would have necessarily been able to overcome a lot of the obstacles.
Why not? What has it given you? I'm trying to get to the bottom of this.
Strength, passion, perseverance, and the knowledge to process the information differently than I normally would have.
You ever stop to think about why the Jewish people have survived? You know, you hear all these answers. Well, we're a stiff-necked people. We're stubborn. We couldn't be defeated because we're stubborn. And then, you know, and then somebody else says, well, no, you're blessed. And this one says this. And I always ask Jewish people this because I'm curious. It's, do you ever stop and think about, because by the numbers, and you're a math guy, you're very logical, from a pure logic standpoint, it's very hard to describe, to explain Jewish survival. Just wondering if you've ever put any thought into that.
I have.
And what's your answer, Sam?
We process information differently.
How so?
We look at the world differently.
How so?
We look at the world on how we can repair it and make the world, you know, it's tikkun olam. It's how do we make this world a better place? And I think we've always viewed it that way as a collective.
Absolutely.
And our survival is based on that.
Okay, back to the one, this pioneering structure at the corner of Yonge and Bloor. Let's talk about it. What do the viewers need to know? How can they get in on the fun?
We're 100% leased, so it's a mixed-use residential commercial building. We've put the ones of industry in there in the commercial retail. They're super flagship stores that are being built, and will put Toronto on the international stage with New York and Chicago and London and Paris and so forth in terms of the retail that's being developed there, in terms of the hotel, the restaurants, and the anchor tenant. And the residential is really a landmark. It's a landmark building, but the residential and living lifestyle is something that is unique, that is one of a kind.
It's 100% leased already, you said?
It's 100% fully leased, our retail, and we're 80% pre-sold.
Okay.
On the residential. And there's no compromises in this building. It's utilizing the most advanced technology and finishes and details.
Well, the presentation center here, Davenport, where we are, is absolutely incredible. And this is a pretty good representation, right? It's a pretty accurate representation of what the finishings of the building will be. And it's really, really nice. Very tastefully done. Very tastefully done. I wish you all the success in the world with the one. And my blessing for you, it's a Jewish show, so my bracha for you is that this project will lead you to other projects that will be equally or more fulfilling, and that will bring you closer to God and understanding Him and His will for you in your life. Thank you so much for being on Canadian Jewish Television. And we can do, it's COVID, but we can do a...
Thank you very much.
Okay, take care. It's good to meet you.
Pleasure, likewise. Thank you.